What's your favourite Willem Dafoe role?
Boondock Saints. Willem Dafoe is an exceptionally talented and versatile actor with incredible range. A fact that made his decision to decide to play the Green Goblin, the billionaire psychopathic antagonist of Spider-Man in the 2002 movie of the same name, quite confusing to many critics. As it turns out, Willem Dafoe actively sought out the role of the Green Goblin in addition to insisting that he portray the character in costume as much as possible.
A fair few of those casting choices were seen as being unusual.
They were at the time, right up until the exact point the film came out, at which point critics completely reversed their decision. Like, oh wow, I guess this director, who was hired by the studio for being fucking awesome, knows exactly what he's doing. Who'd have thunk it? And the most notable example of that is Tobey Maguire, who Sam Raimi had always pegged for the role of Spider-Man against the studio's wishes, because the studio put forward a number of people. I think like Leonardo DiCaprio was pegged for the role at one point.
He's pegged for every role.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it's like you can find the list of all the people the studio wanted. And my favourite one being Freddie Prinze Jr., aka the guy who plays fucking Fred in the Scooby-Doo movie. And also like the guy in 10 Things I Hate About You or some shit. They wanted him, and do you know why?
Why?
Because they wanted a more physically imposing actor than Tobey Maguire.
I haven't seen a lot of roles that he's been in, but
No.
he's not like physically imposing at all.
No, he isn't, is he? Like,
He's the nanny in Friends. That's what I knew him as.
Exactly, yeah. They wanted like you can find the quote. It's like, oh, they wanted like a Titan or some shit like that. They wanted to go like portray the Titan as Spider-Man. It's like, well, no, he's supposed to be like a nerdy teenager who becomes buff. That's the fucking point of the character. And like Tobey Maguire, especially, like loads of people like, ooh, we're not sure about casting him. Like Sam Raimi, maybe like Leonardo DiCaprio's hot right now. Why isn't he Spider-Man? And he's like, no, I want Tobey Maguire. I've saw him in this small independent film. I think he can really nail it. And obviously he got him. And then obviously everyone, oh wow, yes, he's a pretty good fucking Spider-Man. I think it speaks a lot to Sam Raimi's like eye for casting, that his decision and insistence upon like making Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is the reason that Kirsten Dunst ended up playing Mary Jane, and man of the hour, Willem Dafoe ended up playing the Green Goblin. Because initially, like Willem Dafoe, we'll talk about this in more detail in a moment, was like, fuck these superhero movies, I don't want to be in a stupid like comic book thing. What the fuck's a Green Goblin? And then he heard like through the grapevine, but Tobey Maguire's going to be in it. That's not the casting I've expected at all. That's that's an ambitious casting right there. This could be an interesting film. I want to be Green Goblin. But before we get on to that, let's talk about like something that's quite specific to superhero movies, and that is critics and fans shitting on a casting choice before they've even seen the person try and play the role. Because I was like, a lot of people, like, when they heard Tobey Maguire's going to be Spider-Man, I'm like, he can't be Spider-Man. And now he's Spider-Man. Now I can't look at him. It's like, what is that film that he's in? Is it War Horse?
Oh,
that is it. No, is it?
No, it's great. He's in Gatsby, I know.
No, that's what I mean. But you look at him, that's Spider-Man. What's Peter Parker doing there? And the reason I find this idea so interesting to talk about is because the two casting choices that are held up as the reason, like, one, this is stupid, or two, no, you should do this. It's like, it's an indicator of how bad the film's going to be. It's for the same character, and that's the Joker. Because first you have Heath Ledger, and people who don't remember, when Heath Ledger was first announced as, like, you know, the casting choice for the Joker in The Dark Knight, a lot of people online were like, oh, how can he possibly play the Joker? He's that guy who played, like, the gay cowboy.
In hindsight, it is actually quite interesting to see how much, like, hatred went towards that casting choice.
Yeah, like how much vitriol and venom like went towards like, oh fuck, Heath Ledger, he's a terrible choice to play the Joker, and then he ends up coming in, smashing the role so hard, he has poisoned it forever in terms of live action, because there will never be another actor out there who will ever be able to top his live action version of the Joker, and there will never be another live action performance of that character that won't be directly compared to and deemed lesser than his. That's fucking awesome. Can you think of any other actor who's done that? The only other actor I can think of who's done something like that is like Christopher Reeve. And it's interesting, that's also within the realm of comics. It's like, so many people like, Christopher Reeves is fucking Superman. And it cracks me up, especially considering that the person who next portrayed the Joker in like a big budget live action movie ended up being the worst fucking Joker. So I remember when Jared Leto was cast.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I don't really like Jared Leto. He's a good actor, but I don't think... Then I remembered, no, people say it's about Heath Ledger. Let's not judge, because people said this about Heath Ledger, and they got their assholes blown out by his performance. Let's just sit back and wait. And then I remember seeing like the Empire magazine cover, where they revealed the design. I went, oh, fuck this guy. What a bell end. Did you ever hear about all the shit he was doing as well?
Yeah, all the stuff he did behind the scenes.
People don't know there's famous stories about the shit Jared Leto did to get into character, like, you know, to embody like the chaos that is the Joker, including sending used condoms to his castmates, which for me shows a fundamental misunderstanding of the character, because the Joker is never really portrayed as a sexual being in any of his adaptations, at least the ones that I've read. He's shown as being purely interested in like using people and stuff. Whatever, that's besides the point. And my favourite thing about this is he did this to every member of the cast except for Viola Davis, who played Amanda fucking Waller. And do you know why?
Why?
Because she said, like, my husband heard about it and went to like Jared Leto and went, I will beat your fucking ass if you do this to my wife. Like, do not fucking mess with my wife. I will kick the living shit out of you. And what did Jared Leto, the amazing method actor, do? Did he like do what the Joker would do and ignore this? No, he pussied the fuck out and annoyed Will Smith instead. And that's just amazing. He annoyed it until like Viola, no, my husband would beat the shit out of him if he tried anything. It's like, fuck you, Jared Leto. Just go message more underage girls on Instagram. God, what a bell end. Fucking prick. Oh, it's so good, isn't it, the idea that just Heath Ledger has ruined the role for everybody else. There will never be another comic book performance that iconic, because not only was it amazing, like, he went and died immediately afterwards, which means he won all the awards. Like, and that's also another parallel to Jared Leto, because the only superhero movie, I think, so far to have ever won an Oscar, bar The Dark Knight, which I think Heath Ledger got one for Best Supporting Actor, is Suicide Squad, which won Best Makeup. People don't remember this. Suicide Squad is an Oscar-winning movie for Best Makeup. Just right now, put up a picture, presumably they're already remember, Jared Leto and fucking Margot Robbie, award-winning makeup, folks. Award-winning makeup. Oh, it's so fucking good. How did they make a Joker look that shit? Like, he purrs like a cat. He's so stupid. Oh, I would have much preferred if it's got Mark Hamill in. I don't care if he's still wearing his Luke Skywalker outfit when he does it. Just bring him in and make him do the voice.
At least it'd have sounded alright.
Oh, God. He wouldn't have been like some sort of weird like cartel boss who tells people to have sex with his girlfriend. Oh.
So Willem Dafoe is a fantastic actor.
Indeed.
And I'm assuming that as soon as he like shot in and was like, I want this part, they were like, we need him.
No, you'd think it would have snapped him up, but apparently when Willem Dafoe heard the going, oh, Tobey Maguire's in this movie, Sam Raimi directing, what an interesting combo, this sounds great. Sam Raimi is like, peg me for the role, I'll put my name forward. The studio told him, unfortunately, Willem, we've got a list of actors we are considering for Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, and your name is now right at the bottom of it.
Do we know who any of the other choices were?
We do, and obviously like the casting of that movie is fantastic, and obviously Sam Raimi was like responsible for a lot of that. Like, we think like some of the casting choice for that movie are like fucking spot on. J.K. Simmons is like
Perfect. So perfect. People are like, you need to bring him back for the MCU. Even if it causes like universe issues.
I do not give a fuck what shenanigans you have to explain to bring him back. Make him J. Jonah Jameson. That was like the perfect fucking casting. And again, like, obviously Tom Holland has now like taken the torch and ran with it, but I think Tobey Maguire was a fantastic Spider-Man. He did an admirable job.
Yeah.
And especially as well, right, the second movie, we can't not give props to the second movie. The train, like, ah! And the faces he pulls during that scene are legendary. Have you ever seen like the screenshots we've got of him when he's holding the train? Is that the best scene in a comic book movie ever?
It's hard to top.
Because I know people out there, oh no, they're fighting like, you know, Infinity War, where like Thanos is punching planets out of them. It's like, yeah. And I will happily go back and watch that scene in Infinity War, but there's just something about that scene in Spider-Man 2 where you really feel for the character. And I don't think that's ever been topped in a superhero movie yet, because you feel that Spider-Man is trying his fucking best, don't you? And the fact that like he fails like 3 times, like when he puts his foot down and he just like his foot gets smashed, it's like 400 fucking train sleepers. And then you get the guy who drives train, any more bright ideas? And the fact that like takes his mask off,
yeah,
and that no one questions it at that point. It's like, we don't care, just save us, Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think that scene, perfectly sums up the entire superhero genre. You've got like the hero will never give up.
Yeah.
His identity is not as important as saving people.
Yeah.
And those people understand what he did for them and like appreciate him as who he is and the fact that he's a hero.
Well, it's like the best scene in like superhero movies because they've homaged it and ripped it off twice.
There's that scene in Spider-Man Homecoming which is like almost the same thing.
Yeah, but it's not as hype because they clearly didn't understand why that scene was awesome because he gets help from Iron Man, completely negating the reason that scene works in Spider-Man 2. It's the fact that Spider-Man does it on his own. It's like, yeah, like Spider-Man can do it on his own, but then Iron Man comes in and fixes it. It's like, okay, cool. So it's not as hype. Plus as well, I just think the visual of just like the fact that it's just like it's one man. It's one human-sized man, and he stops this entire fucking show. Yeah, like, there's been more bombastic, impressive visuals, but it's just, it's so good.
So much force in his arms that they start to go through the train.
It's like,
Spider-Man.
And then as well, like they carry him and they drop him on the floor, and like you get that moment. It's like it's so fucking corny, but that's just Sam Raimi all over. Where they go, "Don't worry, Spider-Man, we won't tell anybody." And that's the reason I love those Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. He puts all those moments in.
Yeah.
Like, he has all those little moments where he interacts with regular people. Or you just get like the regular people on the streets reaction to these like amazing events that are like unfolding before them. And then you like compare that to like Man of Steel, where it's just lasers and buildings collapsing everywhere.
But the thing, like, people don't seem to realise is that if you humanise the heroes, it makes for a better movie.
Yeah.
That scene reminds me as well of the one in Superman Returns.
Yeah.
Which itself isn't an amazing movie, but the bit where he catches the plane, one man doing the whole thing. Because there's a bit where he's holding it and the ripple goes down. You're like,
yeah.
Is he going to get it?
Of course
Then
he's
he
Superman.
goes inside and he talks to them all. It's like...
Yeah, it's not the fact that he saves the plane that's impressive. It's like the fact he walks into the plane and it says, how's everyone doing? Don't he say like, oh, I hope it doesn't put you off flying?
Yeah, statistically speaking, it's still the safest way to travel.
It's like, yes, that's what I want. That makes me like the character more than if he just like drags the plane out of the sky and just dunks it into... It's like, oh man, then you compare that directly to Man of Steel. You've just got him just floating above people who are just drowning, just like position himself before the sun to look more Christ-like.
Well, you know, Joss Whedon gets it because he threw in that bit where Superman goes to rescue people during the final fight.
Yeah,
that's the Superman that everyone. Let's not get on the hashtag release the Snyder Cut.
It's so fucking dumb. How do you so fundamentally misunderstand a character? Before we move on though, because we're talking about Spider-Man 2 specifically, there's one scene I want you to put in that because it contains what I think is the best noise in a film ever. And that's where, right at the beginning, where Spider-Man's swinging through a city after Doc Ock, he goes through a crane, and as he goes through the crane, they just go, wow. And it's super specific, but that noise, like me and my friend, we watched that movie, we rewound the DVD like 6 times, because that noise is just so fucking perfect. It's just where he goes, whoa, it's like, oh, that sound design's so good. Now I feel like I'm swinging with Spider-Man. And that is closely followed by, according to my brother at least, I think in Too Fast, Too Furious, where like Brian O'Connor is racing in his car and he says, home straight, baby, and shifts into maximum gear to go over the ramp. And you get that gear shift noise. So, so have you got one like that? Like, just one hyper-specific moment or sound, like sound specifically in a film where you just go, that's just so good.
I know the opposite.
What's that?
Wilhelm scream.
Oh,
it takes you out of it now so much.
Just immediately say, oh, for fuck's sake, stop putting these in Star Wars movies.
We get it. Like, it's a funny sound clip, and it was originally a nice to spot it. Now it's like that one I told you about that I've got, the door creak.
Oh, yeah.
I used a door creak in a short film from a sound library, and because I had to listen to it over and over again.
Now you recognise it.
They use it in so many things, and I'm like, that's not the real door sound.
No, because some Foley artists work really hard and some of them fucking don't. Before we move on, I'm going to throw out one more, because I think it's potentially the greatest fight scene sound effect of all time, and that is in Pineapple Express when the guy gets hit with the top of the toilet lid. Because it doesn't like make a cartoonish bonk. It's not like a guy hitting like a sledgehammer into a piece of meat. It's just this dull thud as it just crashes into the back of the guy's skull. And you're like, that guy's dead. That's death right there. I refuse to believe they didn't record it by actually hitting someone with it. It's so bad. Because the acting, he picks it, it's clearly way so fucking much like, oh, it's fucking amazing.
So they didn't want Willem Dafoe for the role?
Sam Raimi did, but the studio didn't now.
But who did the studio want? Did they have anyone specific in mind?
There was a few actors, and I think the most interesting choice they could have made, say for Willem Dafoe, would have been Nicolas Cage, who was on the short list of people they wanted. But I'm not sure if he turned it down or if like Willem Dafoe's just like performance knocked them away in a audition. We'll talk about it in a moment. But like, I don't know if it would have been better or worse to have Nicolas Cage. Because obviously Nicolas Cage is one of those actors where he always gives 100% no matter how bad the movie is. And that movie was really, really fucking good. So I'm now thinking like, would Nick Cage have chewed the scenery more than Willem Dafoe? Because I don't know if he could have done. Because like, Willem Dafoe is chewing the fucking scenery in every scene he's in. And like, as we're about to talk about as well, he insisted on playing the Green Goblin at all times, even when he was in the costume, which is why, obviously, he's just hamming it the fuck up. It's like, oh man, Nicolas Cage has like shown over the years that if you just let him do whatever the fuck he wants, he's going to give you a good movie. He's at the very least going to give you some memes.
I wonder what the Nicolas Cage laugh would be, like his Green Goblin laugh.
The Green Goblin laugh. It would have been terrifying, is what I'm going to suggest.
Like that scene where he's talking to the mask in the mirror.
Yeah. We're forgetting, Brad, we've already had that scene with Nicolas Cage in a superhero movie, and it's in Ghost Rider, where he's screaming in front of the mirror, trying to turn himself into Ghost Rider, with his, like, super, like, just glistening Nick Cage abs. It's fucking crazy. Can we just put it out there as well? I found this out recently. Do those abs that Nick Cage has in Ghost Rider?
Yeah.
Like, I think, the second video we ever did, I said they were fake. And I found out after the fact, so I'm going to apologise to Nick Cage right now, they weren't, because I think it's Eva Mendes, his co-star, confirmed in an interview a few years later that I wasn't aware of. No, the abs were real. I saw him working out. So, like, yeah, sorry, Nick Cage. The abs he had in Ghost Rider were completely 100% real. They just look fake. They're just so glistening because he just oiled himself the fuck up. Because apparently, like, Nick Cage had the idea of, well, if I've got Fire Skull, I should just be sweating all the time. He's like, okay then, fair enough. So put some respect back on Nick Cage. Yeah, they were real Nick Cage abs.
One of the very few ever fact feed apologies.
I know, come on.
Fact corrections.
Well, they look so fake, but maybe it's just the movie shit. Maybe it's just the budget wasn't there.
I mean, they could have enhanced the like the shadow and light on them to make it
maybe,
look a
yeah,
bit
but
more
it's
visible.
so glistening. I seen it. No, even Mendes confirmed. I wouldn't have believed it myself if I had not been present on the day he filmed that scene. So yeah, Nick Cage was. I think the only CGI they did do is to digitally remove Nick Cage's Ghost Rider tattoo. He's got a tattoo of Ghost Rider. So maybe they might have done something while in it, but no, apparently they were real Nick Cage abs.
I love it when this actors have dumb tattoos. Because Sean Bean's got the Blades one,
Yeah,
isn't
Blades
he?
Till I Die on his arm. Anyway,
That would look a bit out of place if Ned Stark's walking around with a Blades tattoo.
just Ned Stark is a fan of Sheffield United.
So how did Willem Dafoe end up actually getting the role if he was on the bottom of the list and Nick Cage was higher?
Yeah, Nick Cage was above. It's because Willem Dafoe asked the studio, well, will you at least humour me and let me read for one of the scenes? I guess so, yeah. Where are you right now? I'm in Spain filming a movie that's not Spiderman. And okay then, we've got a cameraman out there. He'll come to your hotel room with a script. Just read out some lines on it. We'll take a look because you're Willem fucking Dafoe. And apparently, this cameraman turned up to Willem's hotel room. He read 2 scenes. The cameraman took it back to Sony. They watched it and went, cast him. He making Green Goblin. He's our Green Goblin. Fuck everyone else on this list. He's the Green Goblin. It's like, that's how he got it. So, I'm just wondering now, what scene do you think he read?
It's got up in the mirror scene, like the one locked himself.
Well, that was all Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe basically ad-libbed that because he had a lot of leeway over the character, with what to do with the character, and he suggested reading it like it was Jekyll and Hyde. And that's what they did. So it wouldn't have been that one. Now, I'm hoping it's the scene where he explodes into Aunt May's hospital room and just, screams at her in, the fucking Green Goblin suit, just finish it! It's like, shut up, Willem Dafoe. Why are you so good? Why are you so amazing? So have you seen all the memes that have come out, since that film has been released? There's just been a resurgence online recently. It's basically, all it involves is just taking Willem Dafoe's lines and putting them, completely out of context as the response to an innocuous statement. There was one when it goes from 419 to 420, and it's the screenshot just saying, Mary Jane and I are going to have a great time. Or it's when you fix your Wi-Fi router without looking it up online on your phone, and it's just well, I'm something of a scientist myself. Why is that movie so mean? It's great. And here's the amazing thing though, because I always read Willem Dafoe's performance as him just hamming it the fuck up. Was him like seeing a massive paycheck and just going, fuck it, it's a dumb superhero movie. I'm just going to chew the scenery in every scene. No, he took it so seriously. There were like interviews with him where he's talking about, oh yeah, I really appreciate the depth of Norman Osborn and how like his journey parallels Spider-Man's. And that obviously, but it's the journey of like, you know, a good guy to a villain. And I really appreciate the dualities displayed in the character. And then you can like smash cut that to him just surfing around like a jackass on the Goblin glider. It's so good.
There's so much depth to this character.
It's like, fire me, will you?
No, it's out, am I?
It's so good. It's like, there's so much depth to this character. Smash cuts him throwing skeleton bombs at people. Fucking hell.
So you said that Willem Dafoe wanted to wear the actual costume.
No, he insisted on wearing it because originally they were just going to get a stuntman and make him wear the suit for all the scenes because obviously it's got a completely face obscuring mask and just dubbing Willem Dafoe's voice over the top. And he was like, no, fuck that. I'm wearing the costume. I'm Green Goblin. Because like when he found out that like, the mask would completely obscure your face, he went, well, how's the actor supposed to like, you know, like copy my body language? The only way this character can now emote is via body language. And like most stunt actors, like their physicality is impressive, and like you know they can pretend to be kicked in the dick and all that stuff. But how is the character going to emote? Like they're stuntmen, they're not actors. I need to wear it because I'm the actor. And if that quote was coming from a guy called Anthony Daniels, I'd say that's a bit dickish. Let the stuntman wear it. But when it's Willem Dafoe and he actively sought out this role and he wants to wear the dumb, stupid costume because he wants to swan around pretending it's fucking Shakespeare, I don't mind it. So if anyone's not sure what we're talking about here, we've mentioned it in another video, but to briefly recap, Anthony Daniels, aka C-3PO, actively refuses to let anybody else ever wear the costume unless that he coaches them on how to move a C-3PO, and because that's like the only thing he's famous for, he's like insanely hyper protective over it and he's a huge asshole to anyone else who tries to emulate it.
Well, the difference there is that Willem Dafoe knew the stuntman could do the part.
Yes, because in interviews he openly acknowledged like, yeah, the stuntmen were brought in for the stunts, but if you want someone walking around wearing the costume, it might as well be me, because I'm playing Norman Osborn, so I'm the one who understands the character the most. And so the idea, I understand Norman Osborn. This is what cracks me up, because he took it so seriously. Like, everyone who played in that movie took the role so seriously. So I think Tobey Maguire studied spiders. Like, he actually went and studied spiders. And they asked him, why are you studying spiders? Like, to help, like, you know, empathise with Spider-Man. It's like, but why are you studying spiders?
Just imagine them finding him in his trailer covered in spiders.
Just, everyone took the role so seriously. Like, Willem Dafoe was like, yeah, like, Green Goblin's obviously the most visually impressive aspects of the character, but yeah, the real meat of it is, like, you know, Norman Osborn and, like, you know, the fractured psyche of a man who's broken by all this. Like, you do realise, like, one of the scenes in this movie has you turning people to a skeleton, right? That's one of the things you do. And, like, Willem Dafoe, he was so, like, passionate and insistent upon, like, you know, I want to help bring the character to life, that he even, like, worked with choreographers to develop a fighting style for the Green Goblin. Because obviously he understands the character and he's aware of the limitations of the costume. And originally they were going to have like the Green Goblin doing like all sorts of crazy bullshit. And Dafoe went, well, no, because like he's not a trained martial artist. Like Spider-Man should be the acrobatic one because he's got, you know, these amazing, fantastic abilities. Like I'm fueled by rage. My fighting style should be like, you know, more straightforward. I think he's got like a meat and potatoes, punch and kick based fighting style because that's how a guy who's fueled by rage would fight. He would fight like directly, whereas Spider-Man's going to be more elegant and graceful. And the fact that he thought more than not at all about how to punch someone in that stupid fucking suit is amazing.
Respect.
Yeah. And we've got to mention it as well because I'm assuming we're just going to get a lot of people yelling at us about it. Yes, I'm aware that there was another mask for the costume. Are you familiar with this?
I don't think so.
In early screen tests, they had a rubberized animatronic mask that looked like Hobgoblin
like
in
the original.
Yes,
yeah.
That Willem Dafoe was going to wear, but it wasn't up to snuff. So they replaced it with like the big dumb plastic one where it's just constantly screaming, which I'd argue is better because it just looks so much worse when you know behind that mask Willem Dafoe is acting his fucking heart out, and then it's just like a completely featureless fucking face, like V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
But like Hugo Weaving, like, again. like insisted upon wearing the costume in almost every single scene, even though he could have just like done a voiceover for it. And he's just wearing this completely blank, featureless mask, and he's trying to act really hard. It's so adorable. It sounds like I'm making fun of it, but I love the idea that these actors are treating the parts with like the same respect they would any other role. It's a lot like when we talked about Raul Julia and the fact he's playing M. Bison in Street Fighter, and he like took the role when he had like cancer or something. He's literally dying on the set of that movie when he's doing all his scenes, and he's still like, no, like kids are going to watch this movie. Like there's probably a lot of kids that want to watch. I'm going to treat this role with the respect it fucking deserves. I'm going to oh fuck's sake. So.
It is nice that there are some actors who would have just written it off. Oh, it's a dumb comic book movie, especially then, before like Marvel films became a big staple.
Before they were making like $1 billion at the box office, and you can get like Kate Blanchett in them and shit.
It's nice to know that those actors back then were still like, this is an important role and it means something to people. We should put effort in.
Yeah, like. Well, I'm not saying like that movie's perfect, but I feel like every actor who was involved with it was at least trying. And there's like movies released today, like, especially like comic books, like you look at like Suicide Squad and Justice League, and you can tell like they're phoning it the fuck in because they don't care. And then like that's why I love the idea that Willem Dafoe, one, actually saw the role because he was interested in like the character, even though he ended up being like a cartoonish parody anyway. The fact he put the effort in is what I appreciate. Go Willem Dafoe. So as I touched upon in the conclusion of this video, the reason I love Willem Dafoe's performance in that 2002 Spider-Man movie is not because it's fantastic, because it's a bit hammy, it's a bit cliche, it's very cheesy. It's because, though, Willem Dafoe clearly put the effort in. And I appreciate that. So sticking within the realm of superhero movies, let's put some more respect on some actors who appeared in these superhero movies and they haven't written them off. Oh, it's a dumb superhero movie, I'm just going to phone in my phone. So they actually went ahead and put the fucking effort in. And they tried their damnedest. And we're going to start off with Nicolas Cage. Because I'm not sure if the bit's going to be cut, but like Nick Cage went and got fucking abs at 45 years old for the Ghost Rider movie. A movie that I think has like 45% on Rotten Tomatoes and didn't gross any fucking money at all.
That's because Nick Cage loves the character of Ghost Rider.
He does, and he loves him so much, he got abs at 45, and that takes some fucking effort. Not to mention all the crazy shit he apparently did behind the scenes, like staying in character, or buying like the Egyptian voodoo mask, and wearing like weird sex talismans all over his costume to enhance his ghostly power during scenes. And like, it's so weird, but the fact he put the effort, again, the movie's not great, but you can appreciate that he put the work in. Well, sticking with the theme of like getting in shape for a role, like you can't not mention Hugh Jackman. So I think, as he even mentioned, he's like, I hate doing these movies. I hate becoming Wolverine because it's so much effort. I think that he has to basically dehydrate himself to the point where he might die. I think it's something that professional bodybuilders do before they go on stage.
Yeah.
And he has to do it for like a couple of weeks for all his so they can film all his shirtless scenes back to back. And then he like slowly gets himself back up, but stays like relatively in shape for the rest of the fucking movie. It's like, it's crazy to think. And I think someone asked, like, why do you do it? And he says, well, I wouldn't recommend anyone else does it, but I'd be really annoyed if there was someone else playing that role. And then stick with X-Men. Like maybe someone didn't get it, like Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
And Ian McKellen. You think like two Shakespearean, like classically trained Shakespearean actors who like spent most of their time on stage reading out like, you know, the classic plays of like the greatest author in history. Like, well, yeah, fuck it, we'll be in these superhero movies and we'll do it and we'll take it seriously. I'll treat the source material with respect. I'm not gonna pretend I'm above this role. I'm going to embody it. And it shows in their performance. And the fact that they still both came back. And the fact that Patrick's just like, I'll come back for a cameo. I don't give a fuck. Just call me up. I love these things. These are awesome. I love that people keep coming to my shows and asking me to sign stuff as Professor X. Did you ever hear about how he got the role for it as well?
No.
He was like the fan casting for years. And obviously he's not into comics. He doesn't know anything about them. Someone went into his, I think, a Rolling Stone interview, was talking to him about something and casually mentioned, so you aware of comic books at all? Well, I used to read them as a kid. I think I read the Beano or something. Yeah. But I'm not overly familiar. Have you heard that was a really strong, like, you know, fan response? So I cast you as Professor X. And he's like, who's Professor X? And the person casually pulls out like a X-Men comic book on the front, and Patrick looks and goes, what am I doing on a comic book? and then he talked to his agent and said, do you know anything about this? How do I get involved with this project? Because it sounds really interesting. So that's how he got cast.
You've got an article about Samuel L. Jackson in a similar vein.
Oh man, yeah. Well, again, we'll probably cover it in more depth in another video, in which like there'll be lots of comments saying, "Didn't he already talk about this? Is this the real load?" Where Samuel L. Jackson again fucking loves him some comic books. He was walking around a comic shop in LA. And I think he stumbled across like a Marvel Ultimates comic, which is an alternate version of the Marvel Universe, in which Nick Fury is a black guy with an eye patch who looks exactly like Samuel L. Jackson, because the artist for the comic based his look on Samuel L. Jackson. And there's even a line in one of the comics starring Ultimate Nick Fury, where he's talking to the Avengers, and someone asks him, "Who would play you in a movie, Nick?" And he answers, "Well, why, of course, Mr. Samuel L. Jackson." And Sam Jackson called up his agent and went, "I don't remember signing off on this. Someone's going to get fucking sued." And he called up Marvel, and a nervous Marvel executive was like, "Oh, Mr. Jackson, we hear you got an issue." He's like, "Yeah, why am I on the front of one of your comic books, and why didn't I get paid?" And they said, "Well, we were planning on making some Avengers movies. Do you want to be in them?" And he went, "Oh, yeah, but make sure I'm in all of them. And then we'll forget all about this whole like you nicking my likeness thing for one of your comics." And that's why Samuel L. Jackson's in all those movies. And there's a great quote from him where he says, "Well, at first I was annoyed, but then I got a 10-movie deal out of it, so it's okay."
It's a similar story to Ryan Reynolds being cast as Deadpool.
Yes. So again, if people don't know that story, it's similar to the one with Samuel L. Jackson, but it's still pretty fucking hilarious. And it's a lot of people told Ryan Reynolds your style of humour would be great for Deadpool. And what's Deadpool? Like, what is a Deadpool? And he said, "Oh, it's a comic character. We just think you're playing really well." So, and this is a storytelling, and apparently it's completely 100% true, where he picked up a random Deadpool comic, opened it up to a random page, and on that page, Deadpool happens to describe himself as Ryan Reynolds crossed with a Shar-Pei. And Ryan Reynolds was like, "Well, that's Providence. That's like it's a sign that I should play this character." And that's why he spent 10 fucking years trying to get a Deadpool standalone movie off the ground. And he actively fought to have the version of the character in Origins, like, killed it. "No, this is not what the character is supposed to be." And I think his agent or someone working for Fox told him, "Look, if you want to be Deadpool, this is the closest you're ever going to get. So you can either play this role or see someone else do it." And he took the role because he wanted to be the only Deadpool, even though he knew the fans would hate the character. And I think he's the one who leaked the footage, isn't he? He's never confirmed it.
He said he just said the footage was leaked.
Yeah, he's never confirmed it, but like he's wink nudge nudge, like I either leaked it myself or handed it to the person who did, which I think is fucking brilliant.
Oh man, and obviously I think he said it was greenlit within a day.
Yeah,
within a day of that footage getting out. Like that just shows how stupid some movie companies are.
And it shows as well that Ryan Reynolds absolutely was 100% correct in his interpretation of the character, because those movies have grossed like $1 billion fucking dollars each. It's insane. And since we're talking about Ryan Reynolds, that segues nicely to Detective Pikachu. I know it's not a superhero movie, but did you ever hear who was originally pegged as the voice for that?
Who?
It was Danny DeVito. Like, fans of when they heard there was going to be a Detective Pikachu movie made, there was a massive fan petition to get Danny DeVito to play the role.
Weirdly enough, when I was streaming the other day, I said as a joke, I'd rather it be Danny DeVito than Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
You must have mentioned this before.
Yes, people wanted Danny DeVito to do it. And like, to contrast to Ryan Reynolds, who like wanted to be Deadpool and actively sought out the project, Danny DeVito doesn't know like what fucking Pikachu is. And I think someone asked him at a press event, like, "Oh, how do you feel about like the big push online from fans who want you to voice Detective Pikachu?" And like someone whispered in his ear, obviously one of his agents, and like told him like, "Oh, it's a Pokemon." And he just said out loud into the microphone, "What the fuck's a Pokemon?"
Oh, Danny.
Thing is, that would be a fucking great casting. But if we're talking about Danny DeVito, to bring it back to comic book movies, he was obviously the Penguin. And I found out recently, like, do you know the scene where the penguin eats a fish?
Yeah.
That was actually Danny DeVito. He actually ate the fucking fish. He ate the fish for real. And he wore the stupid costume every fucking day.
Dedication.
Yes.
It's like
yes.
Jim Carrey as well.
Oh, it's the
he was in that role.
That was perfect. Fucking. And then you got Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, you can argue that the actors in those movies aren't taking the role seriously, but at the very least, you can tell they're enjoying themselves. And they're not thinking they're above it. They're just having fun with it. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger especially, who's just like, you know what? Fuck it. Paint me bright blue, and I'm going to go in there and just say ice puns, firing this big, dumb, like, diamond laser at every fucker in the room. You got...
What killed the dinosaurs?
The Ice Age is so dumb. So dumb. Then you contrast that to fucking just like Justice League, and we've got like Ben Affleck behind the scenes like, fuck these movies. I don't want to be Batman anymore. Fuck being Batman. These movies suck ass. I never want to be in them.
How bad has it got to be where you don't want to be Batman?
You don't want to be Batman. It's so bad. And then he's like, it's just the idea that you contrast, like, who's it now? It's like Christopher Reeve. It's like, oh, fuck, like Superman. Being Superman's so awesome. Just start like, gonna save the day. He's got Henry Cavill, like, now he's gonna go be in a Netflix series. Give me that Raiden wig from the fucking Mortal Kombat Annihilation movie. We're gonna go punch chimeras now. Get your own fucking Superman.